The views or opinions expressed on this show are solely their own and do not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Zonse Live.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, and night, wherever you're watching from, and good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen in the building. Welcome to Something Radio, episode 15. This is our season finale, and my name is Paige, my co-host High Frequency, and we've got a very special guest, a media entrepreneur and an influencer. Nthanda, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Do you think that was enough of an introduction?
Yeah, it suffices.
Really?
It covers everything. Yeah.
Does it?
I think so.
I feel like you do a lot more than just.
I feel like it's been overtaught. I feel like people know, right?
But just in case some of the people in the audience don't know, who is Nthanda Manduwi?
Nthanda. Very simple Malawian girl. Mostly ambitious. I would like to think I'm simple. Yeah. I'm a business person. I'm also a public officer. That's a private part of my life. Most people don't know. But yeah, I'm a business person. I'm in media and lifestyle, I would say. Yeah, I'm also a writer, so I guess that begins there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't think his introduction was.
Yeah, enough.
Yeah, it was enough.
How about you do the intro?
No. Because I was curious to know as well.
Although I would say I don't think he follows me, so you probably have followed me on social media for so long, so you probably know more. We had to go there.
I have.
Oh no, you
follow
did.
me? What are you saying?
She's probably waiting.
No,
for
but my point is that you would know what I've done over time as opposed to somebody maybe who doesn't know me. So maybe
and we've worked together as well.
We've worked together as well. So
On what?
Miss Malawi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of fashion stuff. So yeah.
I've done a lot of fashion stuff.
I'd love to have a look. What? Hey, introduce me, dress me. You guys didn't even offer to dress me today.
Hey, I blame PH. PH is fault.
Oh yeah, big shout out to Precious Hua
For the trip.
Why didn't I get it? Why didn't I get? Wow.
Precious Hua.
That's on you, bro. But anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Very glad to have you here. So before we get to like asking you personal questions, we just want to talk about a few things that affect each one of us, whether we are in the media industry or outside of that. So there's a elephant in the room, new president, and I've seen already like a few changes, like in prices of like stuff, like bread has gone down to $250.
How much was it?
$400.
Oh,
You didn't know? You don't buy bread?
I do.
Do you
Don't like toast?
bake bread?
No, I do buy.
Okay, cool. Because
just
like I
don't
know
know
some
the
people. I know some people who actually don't buy bread.
They bake their
just
own.
bake
That
their
would be
own bread.
amazing.
Who, bro?
Yeah.
Who bakes bread?
With yeast and everything, or what? Or baking powder, or what?
No yeast. My mom just.
Oh.
Man, that's
bread.
seven.
No, like actual bread with no yeast, man.
Okay.
Anyway, I saw the reduced prices of like bread, sugar from like 800 to like 400.
Oh, that's amazing.
Fertilizer from 24 grand to 4.5.
Yeah.
And the best part, alcohol as well.
It's gone down as well.
Gone down. Licenses, passports. That's as far as I know.
Yeah.
Things have gone down. Do you think this is gonna like keep going, or is it just like for now? How do you guys feel about the new change of power?
Am I the one supposed to give the first opinion?
Yeah.
Ladies
Okay,
first.
I mean, the change of power is good. We were failing to hold the previous government accountable. So I think this is a good space for us to begin to have a change and have some people who are trying to make some changes. As to whether it will be sustainable, I have a lot of trauma. So there's a lot of, I'm still a bit passive about getting excited about the changes and what's happening, what's new. But I'm hopeful that they will keep it up. I mean, the president has an active Twitter page now. Like, there was a chat about that.
Do you think that's him actually?
No, that's not him. That's his
it's
PR
not him
stuff.
now.
It's
Yeah,
his PR stuff.
definitely
But
not him.
So Sean, huh?
the point is that we have people who care.
Sean is not PR stuff. Sean is press
The point
secretary.
is that we have people who care enough to actually update us. Like we don't know if they're going to keep it up, but they actually care about being about the people. We don't know if this is just about just now at the beginning, or if it's going to be like just the first term and then after that it's mess again. But we're hoping that they can keep it up. So I love the changes. I just hope they're sustainable. They're a lot, so you would be scared about them being sustainable, but they've also been planning for a while. So you would hope maybe they know what they're doing.
definitely.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm just very excited for the new government, to be quite honest. I feel like as Malawi we just needed a win, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a win. Yeah.
Well,
I feel like this is the win
for democracy,
Exactly.
it's the win. Yeah. So
I feel
that's
like-
what I'm excited for.
Yeah, I feel like this is the win that we've all been, you know.
Yeah, wanting.
waiting for.
Zimbabweans are mad though.
The Zimbabweans
They're
have been
traumatized.
mad.
It's the same trauma, you know. So they're just projecting. They're really just projecting. Honestly,
Yeah, but hey.
like you're angry at your own president, but you can't talk to him. So you gotta go and somebody. It's the same thing when people have like cheating husbands, and then they find somebody who's you go there and you go fight them.
Instead of finding your husband.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's a crazy example, but okay.
Yeah.
No,
Malawi.
no, I think it makes sense. I think it's a fitting example.
Because you're a cheating husband.
You can't fight your own, so you go fight somebody else's husband.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's close to home.
Relate much.
No, I can't. Don't get me in trouble. But yeah, man. But I feel like this is a win that Malawi needed for a
Definitely.
long time. I'm not sure about the consistency and them keeping on doing what they say they're gonna do.
Well, that's up to us. We're the ones that hold them accountable.
Exactly.
So
But
we have to
but I
remain
don't-
active citizens.
But I don't think we really hold people in
We
power that
didn't used
accountable.
to, but for the past year we've been in the streets and fighting on social media everywhere. So I think people have realized what power they have.
True.
So I think people are going to. We hope that people don't get too excited,
Yeah.
and because maybe of the bias that people love Jaguara and more, especially Chilima, so much. So I hope we'll be able to get past that love and be able to still hold these people accountable. That they're still prone to error,
Yeah.
and if they're wrong, we're still able to hold them accountable. So we shouldn't love them so much. Like
Yeah,
love
true.
them, but they're still our leaders and they are working for us. That's so
Actually,
important.
they are. That's something that we should always remember, that
Yeah.
they're actually servants, and we should hold them accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah. So one thing that we were talking about as Zalusoas, as a collective, when we were looking at the previous budget, was the money that was basically there was no
Provisions
provisions
for
for arts in
For
Malawi.
creatives.
Yeah. What do you think the new government can do to at least, you know?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I actually haven't thought about that. I know there was no budget for creatives. I think Q would be in a better position to maybe answer on that. Yeah, I'm throwing it to him. But I think that, they can support artists in different ways. I think for me, it's not a conducive environment for anybody in any sector, especially in the creative side. So I've actually gone so far as just to try to work outside of the government, like just do my thing without thinking about what the government is doing, because they're not supporting us in any way. And I feel like I keep using the word trauma, but that's a response to that trauma. For me, I've been traumatized. Like you get in those spaces, they promise, we're going to do this, and nothing seems to work out. So you get to a space where like, okay, but this still has to be done by me. So you just continue to do it with or without them, like hoping that they will actually catch up. And I mean, that's been for me in the tourism sector and the creative sector. So we're hoping that they can try to put some things. I don't know what they can do. There is everything to be done. So I hope they can do more for creatives.
Speaking about what you do, I've noticed that you have you're building an empire, and there's I think it's like 3-4 companies under you know.
Yeah, we're
I don't
having this
even.
conversation.
I don't like. I don't.
Which is it?
I don't even know what is what anymore. You know, like I'm
No,
just.
same.
Yeah. What do you mean you don't know though?
It's hectic.
That's a good thing though. I think that's a good type of hectic.
Yeah, it's a good type of
But can you just break it down for us? What's because I know I've seen the Nyenyezi Fellowship. I've seen Tar Media. I think I've seen something else. I think I've seen a foundation. You know?
Tar
so,
Foundation.
Yeah. So like I'm just curious.
Yeah, like what's going on?
What's going on? What are you trying to build? What are you trying to take over?
What are you trying to be?
What are you trying to take over?
It's not taking over. It's just trying to create a conducive environment, like I said, working outside of the government. So what can we do for ourselves? So I think it came from me trying to beg for spaces to say, I can host a show on TV, I can do this, to a point where I'm like, how can I create spaces for us? So how can we do more for us? So that's how Binta Media came about. It was more for me, like my blog and my business, because I had to be formal.
Yeah.
But then working in that, I couldn't just be me. So I was like, how do we expand? How do we bring more people? Because there were other people who wanted to collaborate and whatever. So then the people came in and we're working together, we're collaborating, mostly like media practitioners that are like videographers, photographers and all that. So working in that space, now it was okay, now we're able to do the media, but what media are we doing? What stories are we telling? So my interest is more in advocacy. So I was like, okay, I'm more in the activism, people listen to me when I have a voice on stuff and whatever. How do we formalize that? So that's how the foundation came about. And then in the media, I was thinking, initially I wanted to do TV because Malawi's marginally on TV. Digital penetration is so low. So I wanted to do TV, but then I realized there's barely any money. There's barely any money anywhere in Malawi. So then I was like, okay, digital is going to catch up anyway. So let me try to master that and let me get around that. So getting in that space of mastering digital, growing my own platforms, which I think I do well at.
Yeah.
Now it was other people saying, how can you help me and help me grow my platform? Let's do something together. But these are people who probably don't have the exact skills for digital or creative or whatever. They're also learning. So I was like, how can we create a space where we're able to build something together, but at the same time teach each other? So that's how the fellowship comes about. So the media company right now has about, I think, 7 media products, which are all under development. But I think we're going to be able to launch. When are we launching, Ta?
When are you launching?
In October, I think. Yeah, we're launching in October. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of briefly it. So the media is the digital media company. Then there is Nthanda Foundation, which is more the advocacy / spotlighting whatever is happening in Malawi, because there's literally so many problems that we can't fix by ourselves. So it's just trying to get a space where people can come in to say, how can we do something for our country without thinking of what can the politicians do for us? What can we do? So maybe when we're doing, that's when people are able to come in and help us and support us.
How do you balance though? Like, sounds like a lot of work.
How do I balance? I sleep a lot.
What?
Surprises a lot of people, but I work like 16 hours a day, then I sleep like 8 hours. Like I make sure I get my 8 hours.
8 hours a lot? Every day?
Yeah, 8 to 10 hours. So like I will sleep a lot. Then after I wake up, it's literally like when I wake up, I'm like, 10 messages. Okay, Ntangwanika wants what, or Morton wants what. And it's like that until I drop again. So it's been hectic, but I feel like it's gonna be over soon. So the building part it's literally building. Yeah. So yeah, but I have a lot of people who help me, so that's a good thing.
Okay, like after COVID-19, I really don't like asking people what next. What's next? Like how do you?
We don't know if there's gonna be a next.
Man said after. After COVID.
There's no after.
No. But I meant after COVID, as in
after
have you seen
the
COVID.
Numbers?
No. I mean after COVID came.
Now
in
that
the
we have
picture.
COVID.
After COVID came in.
So I feel like I don't even like asking that question anymore. I mean, I don't think we have a 5 years anymore. So I'm not gonna ask you
what. You think we what are you saying?
What are you trying to say?
No, I'm just saying we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
We don't know. Trust me.
That should inspire us, no?
Exactly.
I feel like for me, I come from a place where I have lost a lot of friends in my life, like to death. That is. So I feel like I operate from that center that I know life is short. So I'm constantly trying to live my best life all the time. I'm constantly trying to make the best of every minute, because literally I could drop dead anytime, anything. And I mean, people in my life, this is very personal. But people in my life have died in very crazy times. I lost a friend who drowned. Like he went to somewhere and he drowned, literally. One friend just dropped dead. So it's that knowing that literally anything could happen. There's accidents, or somebody who was walking down the street and the truck just slammed, and that's it. So if you can live every day like you're gonna die, something could happen to you, then you make sure you make every moment count. It's so important. So that's how I live. So even with COVID, it's just that.
I guess this leads up to the question that I was about to ask. What is it that you want to leave as a statement when, God forbid,
something happens to me? Statement, I don't know, just love. For me, my word center is love. So I think if I can live and people say that people who experienced me personally and say she was loving, she was kind, that's enough for me.
In terms of your brand, what do you want to leave behind?
That's the thing. The brand centers love. So I hope it carries that love and kindness and that warmth. So for me, it's not about the success. It's about people who have come into the space and left better because they came there. So they felt included, they felt loved, felt cared for. That's what I would, if I die and that is not carried forward, people are just about the money and the success and the what, then I will have failed. But if I can carry on a brand that people come into and they feel at home, then that would be good for me.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I was checking out your website and I noticed how you emphasize on like self-care and how to effectively serve others. I think it's really beautiful what you're doing there.
Thank you.
But I just feel like people really need to understand what it means to take care of yourself so that
serve others better. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've always been about self-care. My first book that I wrote, By the End of Your Teens, is kind of about self-awareness, self-care. So yeah, I was also doing the research because I've done about self-care for so long, but I've never really found the main components.
Yeah.
So like now refining that, it's about, I mean, it's not about what you see out here, not my face, not my hair. Yes, this is part of it, the physical, but it's so much about what's going on in my head. I mean, there is this social media trend now, it's all about heal and what, and I mean, we throw it as almost attack, you know, like you're saying it like you care, you even add a heart, you know, but it's really just shade, like heal. But yeah, it's about healing the mind, the heart, like your spirituality. So it's the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the physical, yes, but all those other aspects. If I am dealing, like if I'm operating from a place of trauma all the time, then I'm going to just be projecting that and harassing other people, maybe not being the loving brand that I want to be. So if I'm going to center love and if I'm going to be positive, I mean, I am harassed constantly in the media. So if I'm going to constantly be in that space, I'm also going to become a very nasty person.
Yeah.
So I have to constantly make sure that I'm healing myself, and I mean honestly, not just for social media or like looking cool. I have to make sure that I'm constantly in the right space, mentally, emotionally. So when people come into my space, they also don't feel that hostility. You know, when you're dealing with so much, and I mean coming from your home or your friends or the public in general. I mean, we've seen how the politicians now are going all crazy on social media because they're being harassed.
Yeah.
So when they're being harassed by everybody, they're also now just retaliating. You see that? So it's a whole back and forth, being defensive, exactly. So it's literally that back and forth where I would say my advice to them is probably just to go home and just reflect and heal.
And heal.
And heal. You know, you can't do that in that back and forth space.
But don't you think people really need to heal though? Like
we as a nation,
as a people in general.
No. I mean, just general, but as Malawians specifically, we're such a trauma-centered country. Like, it's just so much where you're traumatized by your family, society, and everybody. I was talking to somebody about entrepreneurship, and we're like, why is it that Malawians are so afraid to do something new? Because we're so afraid of failing. Yeah. And my friend is Kenyan, so she brought up an example to say, and she grew up here. So she's like, you know, your parents actually say, you know, and you're going everywhere with that. I shouldn't shame my parents. So you're scared to try anything new because what if I shame my parents? You know, so you're operating from that place of fear constantly,
all the time.
And then you're not able to say, if I try this business, but my mother said inside semanyas, you know, if I do this new thing, or whatever. So it's that constant fear of failure, of doing something wrong. And in that way, I mean, you're here doing this show here. If you were scared of failing, you wouldn't start. So there are all those people who say, I'm scared, I don't know where to start. You're not really scared to start. The most thing you're scared of is that you would start and then you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
So that comes from, I mean, you know, I'm somebody who tries things all the time because I didn't have that in my life. My parents were, try that, do that. So for me, failure was a constant part of my life. I have failed so many times. I mean, I did Miss Malawi. I came up second runner-up. People were joyful about that, me not winning that. For me, that's normal,
but that's
like failing.
Winning, though, like.
Yeah, perspective. Yeah, but in that space where, I mean, you know, when you're in that space where you're literally at that space where somebody has won and you're in the background of that light, it's probably that. I mean, for me, Miss Malawi was my biggest loss, but it wasn't a loss in that way. Like, I didn't value it that highly, but I mean, in that space, it humbles you to an extent that you're able to, I don't know how to express it, but you're in that space where you're able to take a loss. You take a loss and you're able to say, okay, if I felt like that, there's literally nothing that scares me now. Because what kind of failure am I going to take? I mean, unless I go in an international platform maybe, but in Malawi's sense, I can take any risk.
Yeah, that is literally
like I can fail, it's okay. Yeah. So if I'm also just going and winning every time, then maybe I would not know what it means to fail. But if I've known it so many times, I can try anything and I'm going to be okay.
I think losing also makes the wins more sweet, you know?
Mm-hmm. You enjoy them better.
Yeah.
True. Pushes you.
That was it.
I talk a lot.
Hey, why did you own me, eh? Hey, come on. That was great. Yo, I had so many questions, but now it's like you answered everything before I asked. Anyway.
My bad.
Anyway, I'm about to get into music, so before we do that, we're gonna have a performance from one Eli Njuchi, who's in the building. We're blessed to have you in the building, sir. Where are you? Hey, man. Leaders of the new school, man.
Leaders of the new school.
Probably the youngest man in the room, am I right?
I'm the youngest. What do you want?
No, man.
Hey,
Can't be you, man.
All right, boss. Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you so much for taking your time and coming to
Thank
talk
you.
to
I
us.
appreciated it.
You've made our finale special, and we really appreciate you. And congratulations on everything that you're doing.
On the successes and
The
failures
and the
as well.
failures.
Yeah.
And the failures.
Those have made you who you are. So,
Of course.
we
Thank you.
appreciate you, and thank you so much for coming through.
And thank you for inviting me.
Anytime.
Do you guys have any questions just before she leaves? Are you scared?
No, I'm open.
Are you scared? No?
Oh, safe crowd.
Z's.
No, you should be scared.
Okay. Mac has a question.
So I'd just like to concur.
Wait.
I feel the idea of embracing the failures because I think an energy that we have at Zamuso Arts is whenever we have failures, we also post them on the group. When we get those
The rejection emails.
Rejection.
post them.
Yeah.
And,
That's so important.
That's when the most positive energy comes
True.
back from the group where we're like,
Wow. Yeah.
we move.
We move.
Yeah.
Feel good about the
I
failures.
don't know. Next time I post a win, I don't know if I'm gonna get that energy.
The same energy.
Yeah.
Losses. So pick up on that one.
But do you
I really
think?
felt it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that trend on social media as well, talking about we should post our losses. I'll be objective. I can't. Like when I get those rejection, I don't have it in me yet. I'm not strong enough to post my L's like that. But I admire people who can do that. But for us as Malawans, I also feel like the point you brought up is we're so loud about not loud, but we're more willing to embrace failure as opposed to wins. So if people are winning, then we're saying they're intimidating, they're what? Then we're kind of I don't know where it comes from, but I feel like that's a national thing. Maybe it comes, I don't know, I haven't traveled too much.
I think it's a trauma.
It's a trauma, yeah? Because when people are winning, then they're like, ugh, you're almost like, why them, why not me? It's a subconscious feeling. So we're not willing to support each other when we're winning, and that's also a bad space for collaboration. But when somebody is failing and whatever, then we're more embracing of that. It's our culture where we say, you know, you have to fail, jan, you know that. When somebody is just soaring, now it's sadanic. And it's like, why can we embrace the wins as well? So I feel like the next time Mac posts on his group, he should also get the same vibe, the same embracing that he gets from his L's. Like it should be equal.
Yeah. I think that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
You know, like embrace the wins.
Embrace
and
the wins and the losses. That's
Anyway, last question.
Oh, you have a question?
Last question.
I thought we're done.
We're talking about your followership, like
followership.
social media, like how many followers you have, and like how hard it is to actually get followers.
Are you trying
In
to get
Malawi,
followers?
by the way.
Who isn't, bro? So how do you get your followers to 27K?
Oh, they're 27K now. Okay.
Yeah,
No, I
do
thought
you
I
do
was
that?
26.
So basically, you racked up like 1,000 followers, and you.
No,
You didn't
know
notice.
it's
You had
26
to be
point.
like,
No,
oh,
because when you're in the 2Ks, it doesn't show you how many are increasing. So oh wow.
We wouldn't know.
No, it's actually bad because you're not aware.
How's that bad?
No?
How's that bad?
Okay.
We move.
Think of it like people who have millions of followers. So if you have like 1 million followers, it won't change again until you have another 100K. You get that?
Yeah, so 1.1K.
So like I don't get to change until there's 100 other people who have followed, and then so it takes a while.
I don't know. 800
Anyway, talking about growing a followership in Malawi. I grew. I think I got my first 10K followers when I was style blogging, but that was when I was still in uni. So before Miss Malawi and everything, I had about 10K followers. So I think one thing about social media is people follow. So it's like that number then increases and whatever. So I feel like I leveraged my position in that time. And then when people are joining, now they're able to follow me and whatever. But in terms of content, now how do people keep following you? It's authenticity.
Yeah.
So it's just about being true to yourself, not trying to be what the world wants you to see. But at the same time, I think there's a question about branding.
Yeah.
So you have to really understand yourself to understand what you are before you start communicating it. So like for me, if I'm going to talk about Nthanda Manduwi, who is Nthanda Manduwi to everybody? Because I do so much, so am I really just going to plaster everything at once? Like am I just going to talk about writing and what in one space? Is it going to make sense to somebody? Or how do I spread it out and make it make sense? So you must have a story basically. So it's a bit of storytelling. So maybe some of us have an advantage that's a natural talent that we have. But in terms of growing a following, people follow a story. So it's just about also looking into the world to say, what stories are people looking for, and not faking something, but trying to find something within what works for an audience. So if people, and you also should observe what kind of content you put out. So like if I post, I'll tell you what, if you go on my page, you'll see a little front slits. Because if I post a picture with front slits, I get about over 1,000 likes. Facts. So
Francis?
A front slit on a skirt.
Oh.
Yeah, so if I post a picture like that, I get over 1,000 likes.
But thanks for the help.
You can. Apparently you can.
I'll teach you.
Thank you.
I'll teach you. Yeah, but my point is, you see what works. So you find, okay, if I post about my hair, people are really interested. For example, if I post that, I get a lot of likes.
I can do that.
Yeah, but exactly, likes is yeah, you can do that. So likes is not everything on social media. If I post about my hair or about self-care and whatever, I get more engagement in terms of comments and conversation. So it's also about, what are you trying to get out of your social media? Are you trying to get more followers? Are you trying to get more comments? Are you trying to get what? Because if it's about working with brands, they're looking at all of that. Brands have different interests. Some people just want to be seen, so likes matter to them. Other people want the conversation to happen. So define what exactly you want out of social media, but at the same time be very authentic. That authenticity, yes, but know the story you're saying and be repetitive in it. I was teaching to my fellows in my thing, I say, on your social media, if it's your Instagram, your first 9 posts should pretty much tell your brand. Like each 9 posts you post should say what it is you do. So for me, like I'll give you an example. I talk about food, I talk about cocktails, I talk about fun, then I'll show you outfits, I'll show you events, or what. So within a frame of 9 pictures, because that's kind of a square frame on Instagram, that 9 pictures must have your full story. So it must be repetitive. So if you can repeat those 9 and just keep looping them like that, then people get used that when I come to this person's page, I find this. But if I come today, you're talking politics, now you're in travel, and what, then I'm also getting confused, and eventually I'm like, I want, so then I unfollow. You know?
And that's what you did to me.
This is what happened?
Yeah. So that's it. But also there was something that somebody brought about, that if as creatives we have to learn to be rare. Like you can't just be everywhere and like every time people are trolling and stuff like that. Makes you become, think of Beyonce. I always give that example. Exactly. Beyonce posts once a month, and when she posts, everybody's like, oh, Beyonce posted, guys. You're trending just for posting, you know? So that should be something that we should think about as creatives as well. You have to be rare, not everywhere. Social media, it's fun, yes. Komano, as a creative, it takes away your relative value. So when you're more rare, people want to follow you because they miss you.
Because they don't see you everywhere.
They don't see you everywhere. If I go anywhere and you're there, and you're there, then why do I want to like keep up with you? People say even, why should I come to your show? You know?
These guys don't mind seeing me. But anyway, thank you so much. It's been a great honor having you. It's an honor to have you.
It's an honor.
Thank you so much.
It's an honor to be here.
We'll let you go now, so you can go back to the first David.
So many Davids in my life. So glad to have you.
What did you say? You said you're about to get to music?
No, there's music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Catch you on the flip side.
Hello guys, my name is Eli Njuchi. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so this one is kind of Z. sindizavela zinazo inisenjesi nditafanawo atukulu atakusana makasu mama wa mwina azimai masana zaimba usana malowazi timkonzele muti anyamata tikumbe pati yapo ai palimiyala abawino pali yaute akapume akacholechana alikanyamata kokonandawala awesena nambe kunjala ndizi zangu seka malowazi mwezimu zasuzumira kumpika malowazi nambe akusinga ndiwo malowazi ngera mamwali ataweza banja malowazi malowazi wo malowazi wo. Come on guys, everybody, you can sing with me. Come on, say malowazi wo, say malowazi wo, hey malowazi wo, malowazi wo.
Welcome back to Something Radio, episode 15. This is our finale, and what a journey, man.
What a ride.
I would like to take this time to thank everyone who's been with us from the first episode until the last one. It's been hectic, but hey, it's been fun, eh?
It has.
Met some really interesting people, and
yeah, man, got some very interesting opinions about.
Yeah, got blocked, got followed.
Got unfollowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But we're here, isn't it?
Sorry? You call? Oh yeah. Hey, actually, it's Mike's fault. I feel like it's Mike's fault that we actually.
But he didn't get blocked or anything.
Yeah. But
that's
still,
life. Yeah. Well, shout out to Zonse Life for the platform, and everything they've done, their contributions, and please make sure you subscribe and that you get notifications whenever we upload something and when we are back. Shout out to Zalso Arts for the platform and these beautiful mics, space, everything. Shout out to Mac, not for getting us blocked, but for everything else.
for the business stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Shout out to Kombeza for the yogurt. Getting high off that yogurt.
See, that asshole. Get me in trouble with my wife. Why do you have
Doesn't make sense as an excuse.
Okay. All right, dude. Anyway, shout out to HD Plus, for the partnership. Shout out to Manifest for the clean photos and everything. Shout out to everybody in the audience. Shout out to George Kalukusha in the house. Shout out to Mac Melama. Shout out to Nta. Shout out to Gomez. Shout out to PH. Hey, come on. Sorry, guys. Thanks, but we love you all. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now we created this platform just so we give out so many of our opinions of what's going on in like the entertainment industry. But for us to really know where we're going, we have to sort of like have an idea of where we're coming from. So today we thought it was very wise to take a journey to the 22nd letter and bring the big homie Q Malewezi. Hey, man.
Magganizori history and then you invite me. It's alright. It's alright.
Gotta balance, I say.
It's alright.
You gotta balance it out.
We're trying to earn our stripes.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Consider this a cosign, Yeah, man. Shout out to my rider, Mac Melama. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, welcome to the show.
Welcome to Something Radio.
No, thank you. Very nervous because I seen your opinions. I've heard your opinions.
Good ones.
You forgot to mention what you guys can be controversial, so
I don't think we've
you are
some controversy.
Eh?
No. I'm not.
It was Mac.
It was Mac's fault.
No, you know what it is.
Actually.
You know what it is. I think what you guys are doing happens everywhere else, except here we know the people we're talking about, and they know you, and that's the difference. Kunjabuja, you can do that.
Yeah,
but here you say something and then I say it. I think
it's good at the level. It's good at the level where sometimes we get messages and people are asking, this happened. Are you guys gonna talk about it?
We're like, no, we're gonna let it pass.
Well, you say something and you get with it.
That's what I would call you, man. But yeah, we'd just like to know before we get into like what you're doing currently. How did you get into the entertainment industry? And I feel like personally, the first question I've always wanted to ask you was like, how did Real Elements come about, and what was the energy behind it? Because we don't know the story. And how was that like?
Okay, so in 1954.
Hey man, this is a comedy show, bro. What are you doing?
No, I do these things because my wife doesn't think I'm funny. So I hope someone's taking a video so I can take this as proof. I just be like, see, laughing. Yeah. Well, personally, I've always been, I think since I was young, my dad actually is a storyteller, poet, and also musician.
Okay.
So, yeah, he always used to play guitar at home, and we'll sit together as a family. He would play songs, my mom would sing, my sisters, and then I started picking up the guitar and then started playing organ in the Catholic Church.
Okay.
My uncle was an organist. So he started teaching me a bit of organ, a bit of theory,
So
and
like
then
lungs and liver.
swiftly moving on. Limba. Organ in the limba.
Oh, damn! I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Liver.
Oh yeah. That was for those people who think yeah. So pretty much, I think I had the support of the family. And then secondary, we might say, boys, 3 years, champions, and then stripes. Yeah, and then high school, did a lot of music there. And then I went to study music at the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts. And when I was there, a friend of mine who was in Manchester, told me about another guy called Louis, who was a rapper. I think he was in London, and just said we should link up, and that was Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was in uni, I went there as a musician, so playing keys. That was my first instrument, and then I changed to music production later on. So I started making a couple of beats in school. I would work with some artists, and then when this friend introduced me to Marvel, he sent me like, I think a recording he was just rapping over. I think it was an exhibit beat or something. And then I was like, hey, let's meet up. So I sent him some beats. He wrote us a couple of stuff. And then he came to Liverpool, and we went into the school studio and we recorded, I think, 2 songs. And then we started the group. That was in 1999. Yeah, so Real Elements started with myself and Marvel as the founding members. Sure. Yeah, now the energy was, it was crazy, you know?
I can imagine.
I was on those beats, man. And Marvel is one of the baddest lyricists.
Oh, facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
I've ever come across.
Yeah, legit.
So, it just worked. And then later on, I think we did an EP called the I Came EP. Had, I think, 4 tracks. And then we came to Malawi. I was on holiday, so we all came back and we decided to launch the EP here. And Marvel linked up with an old friend of his, Anali, who they were in school together. That was Plan B. Mm-hmm. So we started doing some performances with Plan B as our DJ.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we heard about this other kid, Wawujijiri. Yeah. What was the name before David? Jerome. Yeah, I said it.
He's gonna say a lot of things.
No.
Jerome.
Yeah, that was his name, Jerome Kalilani. Yeah, and he was in the States with his moms, and he had come back and he had put out a song called Body Snatcher, and we heard it, we were like, hey, snap, who's this kid? Actually, to tell you the truth, this kid was bad, yeah? And we were like, guys, Ababa, we should... No, let's see if we can, because the kid was bad. Yeah. So we all hooked up and we recorded a song qua studio Goodson Gomonda called Astronomical. That was the first track that everyone was on as Real Elements. So, and the energy was just like on point. We're just like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's make this a group. Let's make this official. So that's how it came about. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Jerome.
Jerome.
Yeah. Now
David.
Now Pastor David.
David.
Yeah. Then his stage name was Linguistics or just Sticks. Yeah. Bad MC, man.
Bad MC. But how is it performing the EP in Malawi? Where were you performing in Malawi? Where Malawians even listening to, like, I mean, I know we're listening to rap, because I bet there were like a few local rappers, but
yeah, it was
who were the rappers then?
No, it was a very interesting time. I think when RE blew up, there was Bantu Comrades. Yeah. So it was like they were the authentic guys doing the Malawian thing, and there was a bit of hateration because we were the,
high school kids.
And I'm a ding dong.
The ding dong rapping in English.
Until you sound Malawian.
Yeah, that's another story. Yeah, so we launched the I Came EP ku Blantyre French Culture Center. Okay. We did a show at the Shack, but when we did French Culture Center, this is 2,000 Chagoti people flossing about, selling out. We sold out French Culture Center. Come on.
Raptors.
In the year 2000, I think. Yeah, or if not 2001. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Dynamite and them.
Yeah, Dynamite was around. Actually, and that time, D1 was around. They had a crew called KRT. Who else was around? Kenny Clips as a DJ, Gwyn's was around, but but we weren't the first to do it. There was a long history of artists who had been doing it. I mean, Criminal A, Taki T. The history, Speak to Taps, he's got so much history.
Wisdom.
Yeah, late Wisdom Chitedze. Yeah, late Wisdom Chitedze was he. You know, the Tipewe was was quite a big song.
Yeah,
it was quite a big song then. Yeah.
All right, interesting. What's the next question? anyway, so before we get from like we get into the actual Malawian music and how far it has come, I would like to know what happened to Real Elements?
I could have asked that question myself. I knew that's where you were going. I've got two answers. I have the philosophical answer that says when you don't consolidate your vision as a group, individual visions will come around, and then by the time you want to consolidate, you're so far gone with
too late.
The individual visions that you can't come back and look at what you were on. But to tell you the truth, there were issues. We were young. We didn't have proper management. We tried, but it was tough. No proper management, no proper direction, I would say. Creatively, we were on point. The performances, the music, we're on the recording side. But in terms of being organized and charting out your career path, we didn't have that. And we did some really, really amazing things, a couple of tours in the UK, performance in Tunisia, Kenya, South Africa. But for that big break, it didn't happen. So I think there was a lot of frustrations. And when that happens, you start looking at each other and blaming each other. Yeah. And then I've forgotten the year. After being in the UK for a while and things weren't really, really happening, I was studying, so I couldn't leave. And then the rest of the group decided that they want to come back to Malawi, but I couldn't. So I was just like, okay, cool. So I got out.
Damn.
Yeah.
Do you think that they...
But, I got out not because they moved to Africa. I got out because there was issues in the group. Yeah.
Do you think they partly blame you as well for the group?
Oh yeah.
Splitting?
Yeah.
Because you decided to remain in the UK.
No. Not because I decided to remain, but I think a lot of blame went to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I've forgotten. No, but if you ask me, like, okay, here's a story that goes around. What's the story behind the deal? Because we heard there was a big deal that came to your table, and you guys turned it down. I don't know how true that story is.
Big deal from who?
Sony, was it?
No, you know what? I've heard there's some Real Elements myths. Yeah, I've heard we went to the States. We met, I think I had Dr. Dre's producer. I was somewhere. I was like, even in Pakanabanoba, I've never been to the States.
Are you for real though?
Yeah, no, that. Well, according to me, when we were the four of us, there was no record deal that was offered.
Never ever.
No.
Well, that is very good to know.
No, I said when they were the four of us.
Okay. Yeah. So, thank you.
You were Real Elements.
Huh?
Offered, yes.
Yeah. I don't know because we didn't talk when the group split, or when I split from the group. Yeah. We didn't talk for like a very long time.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what happened to who when. All I hear is anything that is just speculation, but I don't know for facts what really happened after that. I focused on my career as a music producer and songwriter, which was pretty damn good.
Come on. Agreed. So anyway, do you have another question? I'd like to swiftly move on. Yeah. So what do you think? You've mentioned about not having problems with like management and like direction from back then, because I feel like until today we're still struggling with the same thing, where artists don't have management and they don't really have a clear idea of where they're trying to take their music.
I think it's artists need to create. We're best at creating. That's the fun stuff. And I think, unfortunately, being here in a place where there's no solid industry, is we don't have the luxury of a proper manager coming on board, or an artist employing a manager. I'm saying employing a manager.
Which is something a lot of artists don't know as well.
Yeah.
The fact that they can't employ a manager.
Yeah, so we don't have that luxury. If someone has a manager, it's their homie. Hey, guys. So... And then on top of that, you're trying to manage an artist in a place where it doesn't have a solid industry.
Yeah.
So, it's not as easy as just having a manager. I think you yourself as an artist, you need to know what that manager is going to be doing. I think people have publicists who they mistakenly for managers. People have maybe someone who just handles your bookings, and people say that's my manager, but that's your booking agent.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I think it starts with you. You have to know which direction you want to go as an artist, and then find the right person who can do the non-fun stuff for you to get you to where you need to be.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still an issue here. Also because of, do the managers actually know what they're supposed to do? Do they have the knowledge? Do they have the networks? Do they have the skills? Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go a little bit back. I mean, we've swiftly moved on, But I just want to know how the transition was from you coming back to Malawi and you deciding to pursue arts, but as an individual, not a collective.
Well, to start with, when I was producing music, I wasn't just a producer for Rue Elements. Rue Elements was one of the projects that I was handling. Yeah. I had a career as a producer and songwriter. I was actually signed to a company called Jam Productions as a producer and songwriter.
So you're the one who got the record deal?
No, my deal was separate. I had a publishing deal as a producer and songwriter under Jam Productions. That was my career. That's what I went to study. So I already had things going. So even when I remained because I had things going. Yeah. So I was doing, producing and writing a lot of songs. The pressure was quite a lot.
Yeah.
I came back, I think in 2004. That was the time, I think there were elections. My dad was in office, and then there was all this political craziness. I came back to accompany my dad in the campaign, and then after that I went back to the UK. There was a lot of damage. I had seen a lot of things during the 3 months that I was here. And when I went back, I pretty much, I'm not gonna lie, I had a breakdown. I had a breakdown. So I decided to just leave everything and come back in 2005. That's how I came back.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it. It wasn't a move. It wasn't. I just needed to be home. I just needed to be with my family. So I didn't even mean to come back and settle. But when I came back, then I started seeing all these new opportunities. And then, because as a songwriter, I was writing songs for people, but I'd always wanted to know how it felt like to put your own voice to your writing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I knew a lot of poets. And then I decided to give it a shot. That was even when I was still in the UK. And when I came back here, I decided to do more of that. And the reason I did not do any music was because my breakdown was associated with burning out as a music producer and songwriter. Okay. So I hated being in the studio. I hated writing songs and producing songs. And it's something that I've actually just recovered from this year.
I was about to ask if you still miss it. I bet, after you do it so long, you...
No, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But this year, I met an artist who just healed me.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the artist? Because I'm like, I always get excited. I'm not sure if the audience knows, but I think the first time that I saw her, I just like my mind just automatically just like connected her to you, I knew it, after like I saw her do a sound check and I was like, so like if you talk about her a little bit, I feel like her music is something that...
Yeah. So currently I've taken on another role. I don't want to say as artist manager because that's not what I'm trained in, and it's not something that it was accidental. It started out as that, but I'll say more of creative director and maybe artist developer if such a thing exists. So I'm doing creative direction and artist development for an artist called Nyago as well. So she's yeah,
guys.
She does the healing, you know?
She does the healing song.
Yeah, it's someone who's just so authentic and very powerful, and for me it's world class, global. It's a global act. So so I'm trying to assemble a team, a management team, actually, with myself focusing on the creative direction and someone who's actually going to do the business management, and then we've just found someone who's going to look at the advocacy aspect of it. So so at the moment it's a team of 3 that is managing her.
That sounds very well structured.
That's solid.
Yeah. Does this have anything to do with Kweza art? What's the correlation between?
I think I'm still trying to find the perfect, say, we're doing this in our individual capacities, but it's in the conversations that we've been having in the team, we're really seriously considering that being an aspect of a Kweza Arts service. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Kweza Festival?
So let me start about Kweza Arts. Yeah. Probably. Okay. Yeah. So that's where it starts. Yeah. So Kweza, as the word says, Kweza, which is to elevate, to build. It's a company limited by guarantee that I founded with a friend of mine, Washington Chimuzu, and we started out wanting to develop infrastructure in the creative space because we don't have much. And then that's when we started conceptualizing Kweza Arts Center, which is making some good headway in terms of the grant that we've been working on of the past couple of years, and it's years because of the previous government. That's another story. Basically developing spaces, creating opportunities, basically just elevating the arts experience in Malawi. And this year, because of COVID, I had too much time to think. I was like, why don't we do a festival? And the idea for the festival came from working with Nyago, realizing that we need to create a space for such kind of acts of musical acts that are authentic, that are rooted in heritage, that don't get prime time in the other festivals. So Kweza Festival is mainly about that. So it'll be, the inaugural one will be next year, May 29th in Lilongwe.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
I think I just wanted to ask a question when you talked about heritage, and a lot of artists who make music that is very deeply rooted to our culture. Most of the artists who actually make music like that don't take it serious or don't have the recognition or the platform to really get us to that level. What do you think we can do as the consumers of art and even creatives to really create art that is rooted in our heritage, but at the same time, art that is authentic, rooted in our heritage, but at the same time, good enough to sell
commercially viable
to an international market?
I think we need the diversity. We all can't be making one type of music. It'll be very boring.
Of course.
So we can't all be traditional artists or root ourselves in the traditional sounds or heritage. We need the diversity. I think most importantly, we need to start buying creative works from our artists before we even think about going outside Malawi. And if we are a market to our artists, no matter what sound they're producing, whether it's folk music, whether it's trap or whatever, we need to start buying this. Making it shouldn't only be about exporting or getting outside Malawi.
True.
There are a lot of artists out there who never even been out of their countries, but they're very, very successful. In their countries. And I think more importantly, we need to love our artists as Malawians. We need to start buying Malawian products. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be about, it should just be, it shouldn't be about we should only buy the quality. No, make it as a principle, buy Malawian. Even if the quality is not up to the standard that you want, buy Malawian. Because the more you buy, then you're going to push those guys to get to that quality. Yeah.
Amazing. Anyway, so before we finish, which artists are you listening to now? Malawian artists.
Eli. No brainer.
Injected.
No brainer.
Basu?
Huh?
Basu?
Bas. Oh, I listened to Pindu Banda. Yeah, I see her poem there. Guys, that is one of the dopest spoken word artists Malawi probably will ever have.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Damn.
That's crazy.
That one of it. That one of. Yeah. No, but guys, no, seriously, I think I've had the privilege of performing at different festivals. What we have here is amazing. We just need that confidence and just that little extra push in terms of doing the non-fun stuff to get into the networks that are out there.
Yeah.
And we have to work twice as hard as Malawians because there's a bias out there about anything that comes from Malawi. People don't expect anything good to come from Malawi. Trust me, I've had crazy introductions at poetry festivals. The worst was, next poet comes from a country that doesn't know the difference between L's and R's, so please welcome Q Malewezi from Marawi.
From Marawi,
Yeah. Trust me. If you remember, I don't know, there was that time there was idols.
Yeah.
The producers made sure that Malawi looks like the country with the idiots.
Terrible.
If you watch the whole thing, it was like, hey, now we go to Malawi. We're going to see things. Yeah. So there is this bias, and as Malawian artists, we have to know this, that no one expects you to be amazing. Yeah. So when you go out there, you have to work twice as hard.
Yeah.
And you have to kill it every time. Don't take any prisoners.
Kill them all.
Yeah.
No prison.
In terms of growth, or what do you want for Malawi in terms of arts? I think that's enough of a question. What do you want for Malawi?
What is your vision for the arts in Malawi, I guess?
You know what? I think I'm 40 now.
You think?
No. I am. When I was younger, I had these solid ideas about what I thought the vision of the country or the arts should be or would be. But I think my vision is just for everyone to be in a position where they can live out their vision. I think, end of the day, if you're in a, just...
Bias.
Poetry session, Bias.
Okay, Bias is that.
That's cool.
Because, for example, like, who am I to say that Malawi needs to be like this, like that, like that?
Yeah.
You know, Malawi, there's 18 million people and everyone is creative. Yeah? And everyone should have that freedom and that opportunity to live out their vision, to live out their dream. And I think, in that, there's no need why everyone has a role to the Malawi that they want to see. And everyone should be at liberty of pursuing that. And I think that should be everybody else's vision. And I think once we embrace that, it's not up to me to make sure that that vision is fulfilled. Then everyone will take responsibility about what they want to see and do what they need to do to get there.
Yeah.
Because I think one thing that we have, we're always looking at the next person to do something. You know? Now we've got a new government. we're looking to Chilima and Chakwera and say, what you gonna do? You know, you're not saying, I think that has changed actually now. I think a lot of people are now saying, how can I be part of this progress, of this moving forward as a country? We're seeing even people in the Tonse Alliance being very critical of their own parties and their leaders. And I think that's something fresh. That's something that we've never seen before. Or I've never seen before. I don't know about some of you guys. Post 94. Yeah, but I'm just saying there seems to be this awakening now, which is fresh, which is new, and I hope that we sustain it. I hope that each one of us embraces the leader in ourselves, and just move forward and play our part. So
awesome, guys! Give it one more time for. Anyway, thank you so much for coming to the show. And thank you so much for all the knowledge and the information
I'm being very nice today, so I'm gonna ask if anyone wants to ask a question as well, just at least one person or something. And
no comments, no comment, no mic, no. Hand down.
Joking.
Hand down.
I can ask a question.
Yeah, you can. Jokes.
Alright. So I'm an avid follower of the show. And I just feel like there was a time where TJ and I had a conversation about just the art space in general, and there was a lot about how there's so much focus on the music artist over every other artist. And myself, being a visual artist, I felt touched. I was coaxed. So it's what does it take to get other artists apart from just the music spectrum of things? Because Q mentioned, I think his festival, I don't know if he mentioned it on the show, but he mentioned in a private conversation about how his festival is trying to encompass and create pathways for other all creatives basically. So why is it that why I came back to saying that I'm an avid follower of the show is that there's a lot of focus on the music industry more than the visual arts and other arts sectors or other art mediums.
Are you asking us or Q?
I'm asking everyone.
It's a point of reflection.
Yeah. Mine is not a question. Just wanted to get some insight on that. Why is it that there's more focus on the music side of things than every other art form? Because maybe Malawians have, as Q said, everyone's creative. Malawians might have more to offer than music.
I think definitely when I look at it, I think in terms of a subsector, I think the visual arts in Malawi actually have more potential in terms of exportability because the product is already there.
Yeah.
I think it's just the linkages. Chief's chair retails about $500 in the States. Yeah. Yeah. I know an Italian family that ships 2 containers of Malawian curios. And wooden masks and artifacts to Italy, 2 containers every month. Yeah. So
why aren't we hearing about those guys and the creators and the craftsmen and all of that? Because we tend to forget about those guys and just our celebrities are musicians and politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I chip in something?
Yeah,
I think we need it as Malawi as a country. We need a kickstart, a jumpstart to actually put us out there. So once we're out there, it's easy for us to follow up because we know that we're out there already. So someone to actually put us there. For now, we look at music as a main platform to actually put us out there because these guys are doing a better job than we can. Sometimes we don't talk about it, but then it's out there because we can all see that things are out there. So once we have that kickstart, it's easy for other guys to follow up because it's already on the platform that we guys do better. When you look at the music, Malawi music in Japan, they're focused on as Malawians. So the other guys will follow up because they know that they can actually live up to the music industry. for now, music is the one actually making the headlines. You guys are also putting effort, but then not many people are actually focusing on this because they have other things in their mind. I'm sorry for that, but then that's how things are right now.
Oh, so how do we change that?
I think it goes back to, I mean, we are Zaluso Arts. You know, what you guys are doing is amazing. We need 20 more of these. You know, that's what we need. We need more trained arts managers and administrators in the sector. You know, as of now, how many of these setups are there in the country? Yeah. So I think to export Malawi visual arts, yes, we've got amazing stuff, but I would say go to MITC. You know, try to set up those channels for export. And these are things that we cannot do just by ourselves. You know, we need political will. You know, when the next investment forum comes through, we need to have a proper seat at the table and not just mining, agriculture, chan as being sectors that people can invest in. You know, so because we love the fun stuff, we love the creative stuff. Unfortunately, we don't love the business stuff as much. So we need to partner with people who see opportunities in the sector, people who are even not creative, who are uncreative. All they know is how to make linkages, how to make money, and say, we've got a product. Can you sell this product? Can you export this product? Guys, we've got people, Wanga export soya to Kenya and all these countries, macadamia to China. What's limiting us from exporting our visual arts to all these countries? And also as creatives and artists, we also have this sense of entitlement, you know? We are special, but we feel too special. Right? There was, I think, earlier the conversation about budget allocation to the arts. Guys, if we're an industry, right? Yes, we're contributing. Yeah, we throw the stats there, 4% to the country's GDP. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of jobs. But when you really ask yourself, what does 4% to the country's GDP look like? How many kwacha is that? And who's getting the money? You talk Malawi music. The only person to actually make a lot of money from Malawi music is OG Issa. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Who's an Indian. A guy who used to manufacture tapes for all the artists.
Is the same guy running Malawi music?
No. As in Malawi music.
Okay.
Not Malawi music.
Malawi music.com. When you say Malawi music, I'm thinking Malawi music.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only person who's made millions of Malawian music, of Malawian artists.
True.
Yeah. Just duplication of tapes. Actually, Malawian artists weren't even selling music. They were selling sleeves. You were all in the album. You print my sleeves, your cover art for a tape. OG Issa will pay you for that sleeve. That was what the model was. So I think it was like 15 kwacha or something, even less than that. Yeah. So he'll buy the sleeve off you, and then he'll put in the tape. Abanga duplicate tape. He had his distribution in locked, and then he sells your product. So we weren't even selling our music. Artists were not selling music. They were selling sleeves. They were selling their album sleeves and not their music.
What?
And to make it worse, all this was endorsed by the government because he had a deal with Kosoma. Yeah.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So get your intellectual property right. Know your rights. Yeah, it's boring to read like hundreds of pages on intellectual property, but trust me, you cannot be a player in this sector if you're ignoring these things.
The non-fun stuff.
The non-fun stuff. Yeah, otherwise you'll be real elements.
Awesome. Yeah, please.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. My question was really to focus on the image of the warm heart of Africa. As the warm heart of Africa, personally, I feel like we have responsibility to handle. And recently, what has happened has made things change, really. And I just want us to be on the same sync as artists. What is our image as the warm heart of Africa? What are we supposed to do? Because art is there, we can portray it in so many forms, you know, but then we have to be in sync. I mean, you know, we are known to be a peaceful country, you know, so how do we get together and actually push this?
Do you have the answer, Sway?
No, I don't. But I know where it starts. It starts with conversations. Because conversations on forums like this, you know, that's a great question. It's no one will have a single answer, but collectively we can start talking about this and move and start digging deeper. I think, you know, people talk about the lack of authenticity of Malawian music or Malawian arts in general. I think that's one of the things. We are not really digging deep in our heritage, in our different cultures, because, you know, that's where the strength is going to come from as well. For those who want to do that, it's open. Not every artist need to do that, you know? But no one can beat us at being Malawian. But then we need to dig deep and define what that is. Yeah. But there's the Malawian in general, because we're all different. I'm Chewa. What Malawian is to me would be something so totally different to my friend from the north.
How did you?
I know. Although I just discovered that my grandfather was John Julius Nyirenda, so I don't know. Yes, brother.
Last question.
The last question. All right. Somebody alluded to the fact that our celebrities are either politicians or musicians, right? And then we also have this situation where you have celebrities that are both musicians and politicians. All right. And you also alluded to the fact that obviously, given your father's office at a point in time, whatever. My question was, have you ever, like along your career journey, did you ever feel some sort of pressure or influence to say that I have to create my art or mold my art in a certain way to cater for like my family, or were you given the freedom to just express yourself as a general artist in the form that Q Malewezi wants to express himself?
Yes and no. I have to be respectful to my family. So yes. No, sometimes George Kalugusha will know I've got some poems that have some interesting words that I don't perform everywhere. I've got one called the Shh poem. I hope my mother will never hear it. But the facts, yoka. So I think you have to balance it out. Yes, there is freedom of expression, etc., but I think that comes with responsibilities. I have a daughter. Would I be comfortable how would I feel if she started hearing, you know, maybe some of that content? So, you know, parenthood, guys, it messes you up, seriously. Because you start thinking, your level of responsibility just goes into overdrive. And things that were straightforward are not as straightforward anymore. I think before I got married, before I had kids, I would speak it to the man, you know, I would perform and say things to Bingo, you know, and then, wife happened, children happened, and that, you know, you start to think of their livelihood as well. So, and I think with that, your art evolves as well. I think then I had a lot of energy. I was very loud. Now I think I'm saying the same things, maybe in a different way, but also realizing that I think being an artist is not only about the stage. And I think 80% of your success as an artist is what you do off stage. True. So I invest in a lot of networking conversations with people in terms of how do I maximize on the influence that I have. So I think being an artist gives me access. Yeah, and that's the 20%. and the 80% is what do I do with that access that I have to people. So yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Awesome.
We're running out of time, so we have to wrap it up. But it's been great talking to you, and we've learned so much.
Yeah.
And damn, finished on a high note. Don't know what we're gonna have to do for the season 2.
For the second season.
I could host.
You're really funny. You're really funny. Yeah, right. But yeah, thank you guys for coming through, and thank you for the support. Shout out to all our partners and our sponsors. Shout out to all of the people that have attended throughout the season. All of our guests, CZ, Nta, Gome, Mac, and Q and Nthanda. Tuntas. Yeah. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to James. Shout out to Sam. Shout out to Dali. Shout out to Viderio. Damn, the list is so long.
Goes on, man.
But yeah, catch you again, season 2.
Are we doing season 2?
Hopefully. Who knows?
We never had the conversation.
Yeah. But anyway.
No, joking.
Is this when you're doing the talk show now with live performances, like proper studio audience?
I hear you're building a platform like that.
No?
Is this an invite? Yeah, we take it.
You think?
Yeah, catch us next time. Yeah, so it's been I'm not gonna say anonymous. It's been great. It's been great having you guys follow us, and please do subscribe to Zonse Live and on YouTube, and also do follow us on our socials. That's Something Radio with a double O at the end. On Instagram, Twitter, and Thai Frequency on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I'm at Flipping Page on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, man, catch you next year, next season. Do check out Issue. Welcome to the Shop is out.
Yeah.
Eli Njuchi soon dropping out DVD live performance. Do check it out. Keep up with New Wave. What else? Pop Smoke. Buy some Kombeza as well while you're at it. Hey man.
In a nutshell, man, that was nice. Everything.
Yeah, man. That's like all of Malawi.
Not really.
Who's going to big you up?
Oh, you can do the bigging up.
It's okay. No, you guys do a great job. Yeah, I've been watching the show. So, yeah. Yeah, I had just didn't say that.
Yeah, that's this guy.
That was Mike. It was Mike.
Anyway, man, thanks for rocking with us. And we out.
Yeah, man.
Next time.
Come on.
No next time. No next time.
Photo time.